Hello guys, this is Omkar, your host and host, and you are watching the Skillvalley show. I hope you guys are doing great. Let's just meet our guest straight away. Our guest for today is a dynamic and accomplished business leader with 20 plus years in tech industry. He has worked in senior management roles across Asia for Wipro, Microsoft, LinkedIn, and Intel. He is a startup evangelist and prominent angel investor with a portfolio of 25 plus startups. He is a mentor of change for Niti Aayog and mentor to school children on innovation programs. A reader who has read over 300 books in last 3 years and loves to share his reading and writing experience, and also a fitness enthusiast who has run 18 half and 10 full marathons and completed the half IRONMAN in 2018. Mr. Hetal Sonpal. Let's just meet him right away. Hello, sir.
Hey, thanks a lot, Omkar, and it's a pleasure to be part of the Skillvalley show. I hope that we have an interesting conversation, and I hope I'm able to communicate something worthwhile for the student community to learn from. Thank you.
Sure, sir. So before starting, sir, how are you and what is there with the health issues? Is there everything fine?
Oh yeah, I'm doing perfectly fine. Thanks for asking. I hope the same for you as well.
Yes, sir. Our team is also working fine.
Wonderful.
So, sir, shall we start with the questionnaire?
Yeah, sure. I'm ready.
So, sir, I will be starting with a bit of your experience and the journey of you, as you have in various fields. You have an impressive profile, sir. Can you walk us through your experience about your professional journey?
Yeah, sure. So, it's thanks a lot for the kind introduction, and I feel very humbled when I hear the introduction because I rate myself as a very average person, and I always believe there is a lot more which I have to achieve later in life than what I've achieved in the past. But to trace you back as far as my career journey is concerned, I started my career way back in 1999 with Wipro. Worked with Wipro for a good 11 years. Had a very exciting career, and subsequently I worked with three large organizations, Microsoft, Intel, and they were fabulous organizations to work with, a lot of learning. So I think, from a evolution curve perspective, my experience in the tech ecosystem went from services to products to professional network to hardware, right? So I covered the whole gamut of the product ecosystem from a technology standpoint perspective. Then the subsequent 6 years in my career journey have been extremely interesting, where I've been investing, advising, and mentoring startups. I think more of mentoring and advising. I really believe that after spending 16 years with large companies, I felt it's important to give back to the community. So by mentoring young entrepreneurs, helping them on areas like sales, marketing, strategy, and growth, I believe I'm kind of contributing to their growth and trying to help them scale up their experience and be a better company and be a better entrepreneur. So that's been the overall journey. I just love what I'm doing, and I want to do more of what I'm doing. Yeah.
That was great, sir. Actually, in your portfolio also, you have been mentoring and investing in 25 plus startups. That was great. Sir, one more question is that as an engineer, can you tell us how your engineering degree helped you in your career?
Yeah, I think, this is a question which is asked very often to me that, after doing my engineering, I went for my MBA. And I never touched, a technical aspect in my career except for 1 year of software development. I think what engineering does is much more than the technical skills which you grasp, right? It's much more about the experience, right? The journey and the kind of subjects which you cover in engineering. And, fortunately for us engineers, engineers get a lot of respect in the industry. Probably because the entrance examination for engineering colleges are fairly tough. Second is, I think, from a connect with the industry perspective, from a technology standpoint, it always remains, right? Technology is a integral part of any industry nowadays. So I think that gives another advantage as well. But beyond that, I think it's the maturity which probably come in from any other course as well. But in engineering, you need to take your subjects a lot more seriously. Maybe medicine as well, you need to. But, in commerce and science, you can probably get away with not so great marks as well, because, the challenge, the environment might not be as challenging. You can, of course, make it more challenging by doing other courses along with a commerce or a science degree. But, engineering has that core skill. So I think it's benefited me from a brand perspective that I'm an engineer. People give me a lot more respect, much more than I deserve. And I think from a execution perspective, I think ability to understand maths and science is very instrumental in your daily life. So I think that's the other advantage which I benefit from being an engineer.
Yeah, actually, when you were answering these things, I have a big smile on my face because peoples like us who are also pursuing this engineering degree just takes a heck out of us, and it actually builds our personality in that way more
That
than the technical skills, I think so.
yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
Uh, so, having mentored so many entrepreneurs and seen so many startups working from really close, what would your advice be for aspiring entrepreneurs?
I think, entrepreneurship is a great journey. I was telling someone the other day, just like you need to get married once in life at least, you need to once be an entrepreneur in life. Entrepreneurship as a journey, the whole idea of creating something from scratch, building a company, hiring people, creating a product, selling that product, marketing that product, uh, selling the product over and over again to multiple customers. If you go into the investment round, raising funds for your company, getting returns for your investors, getting returns for your shareholders, getting returns for your customers. That's a phenomenal experience which you cannot get in a 9 to 5 job. So that definitely is a core skill. I definitely encourage everyone to be an entrepreneur at some point of time in life. But hold on, you should not just jump into entrepreneurship right from day one. You should gain some experience. You should get some of your black hair turn white through experience, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Whatever you feel is needed for you to reach that level of maturity, where you are confident that you can make hard decisions. You can go through tough times. You can go through hard times. You can hold yourself responsible and accountable for someone's household to be run on your behalf, on your money. And that's a huge responsibility, right? To be responsible for paychecks, to be responsible for someone's salary is a huge deal. Tomorrow, if you don't have work, if you don't have business, if you don't have profit in the company, you still need to pay that guy the salary. And it has to come out from your pocket. It can't come from charity. It can't come from investors' pocket. So once you get that sense of maturity, once you get that experience, once you understand what a product lifecycle looks like, then maybe you want to jump into entrepreneurship. So be prepared, take your time, uh, network, connect with as many people as you can, explore as many ideas as you can, crash those ideas, make those ideas fail on the paper before you actually put them into practice. Because once you put an idea into practice, it's very expensive for an idea to fail. So try and fail it on paper, discuss and try and brainstorm and reach to a conclusion. Only then get into entrepreneurship.
So yeah, your answer, I think I have derived a bit of summary. Like everyone says that entrepreneurship is not just a profession; it is a lifestyle of its own. What you create for yourself and also for the facilitators of yours. So
Yeah.
shifting on to the next question is like, what are the various options that one can consider while deciding to have startup of their own? What are the prominent options to consider?
Yeah, I think a rigorous planning is needed, right? And from a business plan blueprint perspective, I'm sure we can download a business plan online. I think the specifics include idea. What's the idea all about? What's the problem you're second is why are you the best person to solve it? So just because you feel that there is a need for delivery of food does not mean that you are the best person to deliver that food. Maybe there are other people who can do that as well, and they will actually be your competition. And when they become your competition from a capability perspective, the only difference left is price. And you can't just sell yourself cheap to get business because you will actually be making losses. So first is the idea. Second is why you are the best person to do it. Third one, when to do it. Timing is very important. A lot of businesses have failed because they were too good and too early. The market was not ready. The customer was not ready for an idea of that type. So the idea, why you can do it, the timing when you want to do it. Fourth is the ecosystem which is going to support you, right? So if you want to do a food delivery business, are there enough people who make food? Are there enough people who want to consume that food? Is the entire cycle clear to you? Why would people order food rather than make the food themselves? What kind of food they would prefer ordering rather than making themselves? How frequently they would want to order the same food? How frequently they would want some new food? Is there enough variety of food available? All those factors need to be considered, which I would club under the ecosystem. Fifth one is probably the team. And when it comes to team, you have to have a co-founder. Many startups have failed just because it was a sole founder, and he just was not able to handle the pressure of sales, marketing, product, finance, all put together. It was very difficult for him. Initially, it all sounds easy because there's not much to do. You're not meeting investors every day. You're not selling the product every day. You're not producing the product every day. Once the product is ready and once the sales channel is ready, it moves. But as the business expands, when you have multiple products, when you have multiple sales channels, when you have multiple investors to talk to, the responsibility grows. And that time it's very important for you to have a co-founder. So the fifth one is your founding team and your team you set up. The sixth one is technology. You need to be able to understand how you use technology as a game changer, not just as an enabler. It's not about how you create an application from which the customer can order the food. How the application can actually work towards understanding the demographics of the customer and proactively proposing what food he should have, or proactively suggesting which restaurant he should order from. And when I say technology and when I'm saying AI, they go hand in hand, because AI is the new version of technology, right? So I think without getting into many long list, because I could just go on and we could have a dedicated podcast just for these points, but I'll just stick to these 6-7 points. Idea, why you are the best person to do it, is it the best time to do it, is the ecosystem ready for it, having a founding team, and finally using technology as an enabler. If you're able to get these fundamentals in place, then the others can follow. But this could probably become a blueprint of a business plan, which you have to have the answers to before you start your own venture.
That's great. So that was a great structured answer. I think everybody who is listening to us today in this show of the Skillvalley show, they will always note down these points, the 6 points that you marked up. That was great. Sir, one more question here arises that is derived from this answer. How should they prepare themselves much better for the kind of challenges, basically? I'm talking about if there is someone who's a starting entrepreneur in his starting days, how to not get dejected in this journey of entrepreneurship, building something of his own. How to not get dejected?
So I think that's a very good question, Omkar. And I think challenges and obstacles are part of every journey. Wish as you may, you are going to encounter them. And you're going to encounter them when you least expect them, right? So problems will come. You will not know when the problem will come, and they'll always come at the wrong time. And you might not always have the solution in hand. I think what you can control is your reaction to the problem, anticipating the problem, knowing that the problems will occur, having a plan B in place, having a resolution worked out on various use cases and various scenarios, right? Scenario planning is a very important term which we use when it comes to business planning, right? What if the restaurants are all shut? What if the restaurants are not able to get the supplies for making food? What if there is a internet connectivity breakdown in the system, right? So the customer wants to order the food, the restaurant is willing to deliver the food, but the internet is not working and they're not able to connect with each other. Can we have an SMS mechanism in place? Can we have a delivery guy going and knocking on doors of the 10 customers and saying, sir, I'm willing to take the order on pen and paper. Can you please tell me what you want to order? I will directly send that slip to the restaurant and they will deliver. Sir, we'll take 15 minutes more because we are working without the application, but sir, please don't worry, your food will come from my restaurant. Can we have that kind of a backup plan, right? So be prepared for challenges, understand that challenges will come, understand the challenges will come at the completely wrong time. Understand that you don't have control on the challenges, but you have control on the solution. Prepare a plan B. What if this happens? What do we do? What if this happens? What do we do? Fail. Find ways to fail your model. Find ways to crack that model. Follow the Gillette philosophy. Create your own competition before a competitor creates that. Find loopholes in your business and plug those loopholes before your competition comes and takes that as an advantage and creates a competing system around it, right? So these are, I think, very simple fundamental rules. Every business is different. Every business will encounter different problems. It's very difficult for me to give a Uber blueprint over and above what I've shared. But knowing the fact that it's the overcoming of the challenges is a real fun of entrepreneurship. Simple, straightforward business where you start making money, you might as well open a kirana shop. You don't need to be an entrepreneur. Or you can just get into stock trading and invest in mutual funds. They're very safe. You really don't need to get into entrepreneurship. But yes, if you get into entrepreneurship, be prepared for challenges and enjoy them. Thrive. Look forward to them.
That was great actually, and this is some things that the starting entrepreneurs or the newcomer entrepreneurs need to know about these kind of things. It's about reading the pros and of course the cons with the journey you are going to ahead. And yeah, I have one more question to it, but I will ask it at the end of this session because I have
Sure.
a good question related to it. Sure, sir. So moving on to my next question, that what have you observed as shortcomings among the potential investors? What do they lack, and how can they make up for the same?
I think the number one shortcoming is patience. Entrepreneurs are very impatient for success. They don't want to give the business enough time for it to heal. The second one is giving up, right? Is giving up responsibility, giving up ownership, and giving that element of trust to your team members. I think that's another thing which is an important learning for entrepreneurs today. They believe that everyone should work the way they do, which is physically not possible. Right? If you're hiring someone for a particular task or a particular function, he or she has his own brains, he or she has her own capabilities uh, and her own achievements, because of which you have selected that person. So obviously he or she is going to utilize that skill, utilize that experience, executing the task the way they feel it should be executed. So being too much of a boss or being too much of a dominant manager might probably lead to more disasters, right? So first one is patience. Second one is empowerment. I think that's what I was looking for. Empower people. Third one is to try again. Never let failure overcome you. There's always a solution provided you are willing to try enough things out. Brainstorm, look at plan B, talk to people, talk to your customers, talk to your suppliers, talk to your employees, understand if anyone has inputs. Because the most junior most person might have the smartest answer for the toughest problem. And you will be amazed as to the kind of knowledge which the quiet people will learn. If you give everyone an opportunity to talk, everyone will have something to share. If you don't give that opportunity, people will get disgruntled, will get disappointed, and actually leave the organization without ever telling you why they left, right? So be open for criticism, be open for feedback, be open for suggestions. Always keep exploring, keep trying new things. Never sit down and say I've arrived in life, I've achieved myself. Never sit down and say I've done it, right? Because you have never done it till you're dead. Till the point where you give up your life, you need to keep trying things, you need to keep thinking new things, you need to innovate. I think these probably would be a few points to constantly worry, to constantly look at. Be patient, empower people, look at solutions, talk to people, innovate and think, and constantly try and find new ideas for your business. Constantly be on the run, on the go, not from execution perspective, from thinking perspective. And spare some time for yourself. Thinking time is very important. You don't need to work 16 to 18 hours a day. Working 10 hours is enough as long as those 10 hours are meaningful. And then you're spending an hour thinking about what you did, thinking about what you could have done better, and implement those ideas in the next day.
That's great. Actually, one of the point that you marked here is listening to that tier 3 people of your company as well. The smallest mind can have the smartest answer, as you said. That was the point that I will surely mark up in my diary when I will leave this podcast.
Definitely.
Now my next question is that how did you build skills in networking and business strategy, and what was the motivation for the same? Or did you always like this genre of work, or what is that?
So I still remember when I joined LinkedIn, one of my friends said, LinkedIn is the most natural company for you to join. The way I've been networking right from day one, I have a very strong network of my school friends. I have a very strong network of my college friends, my engineering friends, and my MBA friends. And I've made it an effort to stay connected with my colleagues from my old organization as well. So networking comes very naturally to me, to know more people, to understand about them, to ask them about their background, to understand their challenges. It comes very naturally to me. And, I feel claustrophobic if I don't get to meet people. I feel cramped if I don't get a chance to interact with a lot of people. So I always look for avenues where I could actually network. And I think networking is a very important skill. It's not just about networking for business development or sales. It's about networking to understand other people and to learn from other people. Because, humans have the advantage that we have a smart brain. We have the intellect to be able to learn. And when you have the intellect to learning from other people who have gone through experiences very similar to yours, is the most precious experience you can learn. Learning from books definitely is there, but sometimes it's very difficult to get all the knowledge from books because it can be painful to read for a while, for a long time. But if you talk to other people and understand their experience, there is wealth of wisdom which is shared. And people are willing to talk. You just need to ask them the right questions, right? So I would definitely encourage students to focus on networking as a very important skill, a very important aspect of their life and career.
That was great, sir. Deriving to this, I have one more question with this networking and thing kind, like with your experience, that working with large companies, any aspects that you felt can be made much better?
So I think the large organizations need to be more nimble, and of course they are putting in an effort, right? So when I worked with large companies, it was a long back, right? And now we see large companies are very flexible. In fact, I give I give talks in these schools on enterprises and startups, on large enterprises and startups, and how these two gamut of companies are so different, and yet they are trying to be very similar, right? Large organizations are trying to be more startup friendly. They're trying to create empowerment units inside their organization. They are saying that be an intrapreneur, stay inside my company and be an entrepreneur. You take up a division, you take up a product, and you take the whole responsibility of running it as if it's your own company. I'll give you the budget, I'll give you the allocation, I'll give you the people, I'll give you the seat, I'll give you the laptops. Make your own company here and produce it. So that if you produce it and if it turns out to be a great product, I benefit, you benefit. If you leave the company and you make it, I don't benefit. And if it fails, then it's your loss. So the negatives are large for you. Here, if you fail, I'm willing to bear the loss because I'm a large company. I can bear that loss. But if you go outside and fail, then there is no second chance for you, right? You are on the roads. So I'm giving you that ecosystem. So that's a big change which large organizations have brought about. And I think they need to do a lot more of that. They need to give a lot of opportunities for individuals to work like an entrepreneur in the large organization. Diversity is very important nowadays. While we can follow Prahlad's core competency philosophy, but diversification is very important. You need to always look at alternative business models for the same product. You need to look at family of products rather than one product. You need to look at expanding across geographies rather than sticking to one particular organization or one particular product segment or one particular geo. Because if it's a Bharat Bandh, then the whole country is not buying your product on that day. But if you're a global company, then you can overcome the vagaries of such challenges coming in regional level. If you're in one state, go to other state. If you're in one city, go to other city. Try and multiply the avenues of sales. And obviously, from a diversity perspective, you should enhance or encourage diversity as much as possible. It's not just about hiring more females if you have a higher percentage of males. It's about hiring handicapped people, hiring LGBTQs. Get that diversity in because you never know where your star player is going to come from. So don't have barriers in terms of whom you cannot hire. Be open for all kinds of people. That will make your organization a lot more popular and a lot more friendly, employee friendly. Yeah, I think that should probably be a sufficient enough list. Of course, I'm a very small person to put up demands on how a large organization should work. I'm sure there are a lot of smart people in these large organizations, but based on my experience, this is what I could probably come up with.
Yeah, sure, sir. Now, one more question that is on your experience, basically. When you evaluate any kind of startup, what do you specifically look for in the company and the entrepreneur?
So I have a very simple 4-point metrics as far as evaluation of startups is concerned. First one is the profile of the founder. What has the person done before he decided to start a startup? What kind of experience he has? What company he worked for? Where did he study? Where did he grow up? What's his family background like? Any standout initiatives in school or college? Any standout initiatives in his work? Something which can give me the confidence that he will be able to weather the tough times. If your business idea is great and the market is ready for it, it's not a big deal for you to be successful as long as the workings are good. But what if your business has a high dependence on cash and a demonetization happens? What if your business is related to travel and Corona happens, right? How do you handle those tough times is where the personality really thrives. So I look at the background perspective. Second is uniqueness of the business model. What's different about you? What's the new thing we are doing? Even if it's a tried and tested business model, how are you implementing it in a different way? How are you creating a new ecosystem around the product or the solution? How are you ensuring that you are able to get a higher revenue as compared to the competition just because you built a smart delivery ecosystem or whatever, right? So uniqueness of the business idea is important. I hate cut copy paste model, especially if they're not accompanied by any sense of innovation or differentiation. The third one is scope for monetization. Many times people downplay monetization and say, oh, I have 10,000 downloads. I have 1 million hits on my website. All those don't translate into revenue. What translates into revenue is when the customer is willing to pay for the product or the service. And when he's willing to pay for the product or service, it does not have to be a one-time pay. There has to be a repetition coming in so that you can predict on a month-on-month basis or a year-on-year basis how your sales and revenue will grow. If the number of customers does not expand, how will the revenue grow? The same customer has to buy more products and services, so your revenue needs to grow there as well. So I think the third one is monetization. The fourth one is, if I look from an investor perspective, or even if I look from a shareholder perspective, scope for exit, right? What is the ultimate exit for the company? Is it an IPO? Do you expect to be bought out? Do you expect to continue and standardize or plateau at a certain level? It's very important for you to be able to predict the revenue nature or the long-term nature of the company in terms of where it all end up, assuming everything goes right. If there are challenges, you obviously will have a timeline where you thought you will go for an IPO in 8 years, it probably becomes 10 years or 12 years. That's perfectly fine. But as long as your path to the IPO is very clear and you're really going on a step-by-step growth, then you're kind of fine. So for entrepreneur to be able to predict his company's future with certain level of confidence, it's very important.
Yes, sir, I urge you to just tell us something about the topic that was in your TED Talk, Science of Good Life. Please tell us something about that.
Yeah, I think, glad you brought it up. It's been about 3 years now since I gave my TED Talk, and I'm looking forward to the next one. But Science of Good Life was a topic which I chose where I felt, people need to understand what constitutes a good life. And a good life does not necessarily mean that you have a flashy job, you have a great car, you have a fancy house, you have a beautiful wife, and you have lovely daughters and lovely kids. The good life is much more than that. Good life is inner peace. Good life is where you're happy from inside, even if you don't have a fabulous car, even if you don't have a fabulous house, you're still happy. You are contented. You are comfortable with what you have achieved because it is in line with what you had set yourself as a target or a goal. Does not mean that you set goals and targets which are small. You set yourself goals and targets, accounting for your capabilities and going slightly higher than your capabilities. You bring in that element of stretch in your life where you say, I'm going to do that little extra which can make a difference today compared to what I did yesterday. And tomorrow I will go even further up, right? So that gradual inching is possible only if you are conscious of the fact that you have certain strong points which allow you to do that task. At the same time, you have certain limitations which are going to impact the overall quality of your task. Are you taking support from people to solve that limitation? Are you giving yourself those element of doubt that you might not be 100% perfect, you might be 70%, 80%, 90%. And if you're at 80%, then you don't need to go from 80 to 100. You probably go from 80 to 82, 82 to 84. Take a gradual leap. There is no hurry, right? All of us have advantage of living for 70, 80 years. So a few months here or there, a few years or here or there cannot make a difference to your career as a whole. As long as you are giving yourself time and you're contented, whatever you achieve, you will feel happy about it. But if you try to rush into it, that 80 might fall to 20, or it might go to 0, and your company or your business might have to fold up. You don't want to take that drastic measure. So the science of good life is all about being conscious and aware about your skills, about your advantages, about what you expect from yourself, what you expect from life, what you should not expect from life, what you should not expect from yourself. It's basically an analysis. You'll have to go through the 18 minutes of TED Talk to understand that. But this is the crux of it in a very simple and plain language.
That was great. Actually, that's about finding prosperity in the real meaning of the word prosperity. That will just define us as a human being too.
Exactly. True.
So now coming to a bit of soft part of this podcast, what do you like to do in your leisure time? What are you passionate about?
I look forward to my leisure time. I have too many activities to keep myself busy. If it's the morning, I'm out for a workout, out for a run or for a walk. If it's during the day, I'm reading a book or writing a blog. If it's evening, again, I'm out for a walk, enjoying nature, taking some nice photographs. If the weather is good and people around me allow me, I would love to sing a song, listen to great music, listen to a podcast, listen to an audiobook, watch a nice movie or watch a nice web series, which I don't know too much. I'm very miserly when it comes to screen time. I allocate all my leisure towards my reading, which is probably my number one skill as far as leisure is concerned. But I just love to dabble into anything and everything which helps my mind to go creative. I've tried picking up the paintbrush and done a bit of painting as well, just for the heck of not leaving any stone unturned as far as any art or skill is concerned.
So yeah, the part that you said about your music skills, yes, the audience would love to hear it, but still, we just
you don't want this podcast to be banned for the horrible singer that I am. Don't ask.
No, sir. Singing just comes from the inner need of ourselves.
Yeah. Singing is an expression of your mind, expression of your heart.
Yes.
As long as you are singing what you can relate to, the quality of singing is a non-issue, because we all of us can't be great singers, honestly. Right? If you want to be like a Kishore Kumar or a Mohammed Rafi, we need to spend the amount of time which they spend singing, which honestly in our daily lives we don't. The day we start doing that, we'll automatically start seeing improvement. But being able to sing your heart out is more important than singing well. You're not out for a competition. You're not out there to impress your boyfriend or girlfriend with your singing. There are other skills which you can use to impress them with. It does not have to be your singing. So just be yourself. I think that's important.
Yeah, for people for whom the singing is just for a business or anything, like, they can have, but people like me also, I'm just kind of a bathroom singer who just sings when the things are not going right. So that feels me there. So that is the thing.
True.
Yeah. So digging a bit into your life also, if you had to evaluate yourself 25 years ago when you were in college, like many amongst our audiences, how would you compare with that ft.Hetal and the one who is on this podcast today with us?
Oh man, you would not be able to recognize that person. I did not do anything of this. I was not reading, I was not writing, I was not running, I was not singing, I was not painting. I really don't know what I was doing. I was honestly a very big idiot. I really did not know. I mean, I thought just having an engineering degree and just being in engineering college, my life is set. I'm going to get a great job, and that job is going to get me money. And with that money, I'm going to buy stuff for myself. And with that stuff, I'm going to use that stuff. Just enjoy, travel, have good food, and have a good life. And I realized life is nothing like that. Life is no fun if there are no challenges. And challenges don't come till you call out, till you ask for those challenges, right? Aa bail mujhe maar is actually very important as a life philosophy. We all should ask aa bail mujhe maar, because jab tak bail aapko marega nahi, tab tak aapko realize nahi hoga कि आप में potential क्या है. You don't even know whether you can fight a bail or not, right? So you should look out for a bail and say, boss, let's challenge it, right? Imagine you're in a canteen and, two guys are having arm wrestling, panja lada rahe, right? You will look at the physical demeanor of one person or the other person and say, yaar, ye hamare bas ki cheez nahi hai. But physical demeanor does not justify physical strength. There is a big difference between the two. I've seen bulky, hefty looking people losing out on arm wrestling with slim guys. It's your core. It's your inner strength which works. It's not the quantum of muscles you have or the quantum of fat you have around you. And that inner strength is not easily visible, right? So going back to that Abel Muzamar, you don't know whether you can fight the bull till you actually fight. Yes, you might get knocked around, you might get bruised, you might break a bone, but that day you will really know what you are really capable of and what you are not capable of and what you need to do to get to that level of capability. Go and watch a bullfight and see some people who are fighting the bull and then talk to them and understand how did they build their body. They're not like 110-pound gorillas going around. They're normal people, but they have that agility. They have that ability to look the bull in the eye and scare her and handle her, right? They're able to gauge from her body language what is her next move going to be. And they outsmart and outwit that. That's all you need to know. It's not about building spending 4 or 5 hours in the gym every day. No, that's not going to lead you anywhere. So, that's the way I look at life.
So as you mentioned that you are passionate about running, reading, and even your first book is to be released soon, as we were informed. How do you get the time, motivation, and energy to do so, and keeping your schedule just like the way it is organized, too much organized? You remind me of the everyday bunny. You just does not stop.
Honestly, I'm one of those guys who feels that life is not fair. We need 48 hours in the day. 24 hours is just not enough. I honestly believe that as long as you have willingness to move from point A to point B, move from point A level to point B as far as intellect is concerned. I don't know this, I want to know this. I don't know this, and I don't know this. Now I'm going to know this. I have not done this, I need to do this, right? As long as you are identifying stuff which you have not done, you're always leaving room for doubt as far as your 100% complete life is concerned. Oh, I have not tried out scuba diving. Oh, I have not tried ski jumping. Oh, I have not tried cooking. Oh, I have not tried gardening. I have not tried tailoring, right? There's so many things I need to do. And if I sit down and relax and say I'm going to watch TV for 4 hours and watch a web series, I'm going to binge watch the web series, I'm losing 4 precious hours on an activity which I can do without. A lot of people need entertainment because their rest of the time in the day is clocked with tension. It's clocked with challenges which they were not able to overcome. So there is a hangover of those problems which they want to get done with, right? Pura din bahut bura nikla hai. Now I want to get out of that troubled zone. I want to see a character in that movie, and I just want to live that life of that character for those 2 hours. That's why I'm watching a movie. So that's distraction. But by distracting yourself, you're not solving your problems. You're just postponing the problem of overcoming them, or postponing the time of addressing them. The way I look at my life is I don't get hangover of one activity to the other activity. If I had a call and the call has not gone well, does not mean that I have to go and watch a TV or get distracted. Does not mean that I have to go and take a break or take a walk. I don't smoke, so it's not that I have to take a fag break just because of that. I find my way of saying that, okay, that part of the day is over. That conversation is over. Whatever has to happen has happened. That guy felt bad because I screamed at him. I need to call him and say sorry at some point of time, or explain to him why I got angry and settle my score with him. I can't let my rest of the day go bad just because that 1 hour went bad, just because that one part went bad. So I think staying busy is not a problem as long as you know that there is more stuff to do. Don't let hangover of one activity get onto the other activity. And understand that there is limited time in life. You don't have infinite time. So moment you start valuing your time, others will value you as well.
So that's basically the perfect ever ready bunny who just does not stop. Like I say,
I'm far from being perfect. It's just my attempt to try and solve few of my problems in life.
Sure, so that's the humbleness of you that you are denying the fact. But yeah, for us, it is like that. So let me introduce to our audience and views as the fun part of this podcast session. This is basically a rapid fire round.
Oh man, I was not ready for this. Hey, you guys should have told me. I would have actually read up a few books and been ready with it. I mean, a few more.
No, so it's just a basic questions. I will just make you choose between two things. It will like winter.
Is there a prize? Is there a hamper which I get for answering the question in a very rapid way?
Oh, so for that,
for it. Look, why would I be motivated to answer a rapid fire? Nahi karna mere ko.
So that's basically, I am insisting it. We as a team insisting it. And for that section, I just need to ask my accountant that is there something that we can have it for. So
yeah, I was just joking. You can ask those questions.
Yeah, sure. So basically, I will allow you to choose between two things, and let's see if it stays down to some interesting things, or rather, we can select some things from your life that is a bit interesting, some stories too.
Sounds good.
Shall we start, sir?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so the first thing is, if I will have to choose from, you will have to choose from work or family.
Family.
Fame and money.
Fame.
As you answered regarding your leisure time that you want to do in the morning part, in the afternoon part, in the evening part. So basically, you are more of a morning person or a night person?
I'm a 24-hour person. I can stay
Perfect
up all
answer.
night. I can wake up in the morning. I'm completely flexible on that.
Perfect
But yeah,
answer. That's a question.
I prefer morning over night. Let me be honest about it.
Okay, that's great. So, what is the one things you would put on your bucket list?
I don't have a bucket list. I believe if I have something to do, I'm going to do it now. I'm not going to wait till I get old to put it in the bucket list.
So, the next question of this rapid fire is actually from one of your answers. You just stated that in your engineering life, you just always feared about the things that the bachelor degree is must to get and everything like that. So, who do you admire in your life for these type of stuff that you are going constantly doing this kind of things?
I have just have one idol in my life, and that was my father. I've replicated a lot in terms of the way he led his life, and I'm taking inspiration from his life. I didn't get a chance to mention, but my first book is my dad's biography. I'm writing his biography, and it's going to be a proud moment when the book gets released on 21st of August, which is his birth anniversary. And I think if I have to talk about one person who I consider as my idol, I think it's my dad.
That was great, and we all will mark that date, 25th of August, for all the audience who is hearing this out. So that's a shout out from our side too, because that's
21st of August, yeah.
Yeah. So the next question is that if a movie is made of your life, what the genre would be?
Thriller,
Perfect.
adventure,
Yeah.
go-getter.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
action in every moment. There's surprises. There is climax. There is people. There is dance. There is drama. You just have stuff happening all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like the 24-hour. I'm like the ever-ready bunny, right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
You won't see me sitting still in the movie even for a minute.
We
Even
would
as
love
I'm
to have
sitting, my mind is working.
yeah. And one more question attached to this: who among the Bollywood superstars you want that? Yeah, this man can do justice to your role.
Amir Khan. He's
Amir
my evergreen hero.
Mr. Perfectionist.
Mr. Perfectionist.
Making headlines.
Of course.
Yeah, sure. The next thing is, what if I let you choose between winter or summer?
Winter, any day.
Beaches or mountains?
Mountains.
Any specific place that you visited? Any your holiday destination? A specific holiday destination? Is there some?
I always question this specific holiday destination. I mean, there are like infinite places to go. I just want to go, every time I want to go to a place which I'm not gone. That's more fun. There's something new to explore, something new to eat, some new people to meet. Why go to the same place again and again, honestly?
Exploring new things.
Yeah.
And do you have a favorite joke or any favorite movie dialogue? As you said, you are fond of some web series. Pretty much less into it, of course.
I have a favorite quote which I quote very often. It's ascribed to Mahatma Gandhi, and it's also called a Chinese proverb. I don't know which one is true. It goes like this. Be careful about your words, because your words become your thoughts. Be careful about your thoughts, because your thoughts become your action. Be careful about your actions, because your actions become your character. Be careful because your character becomes your destiny. This is a very thought-provoking thought and quote, and I love to quote it. I might not have quoted it precisely, but I think broadly the meaning is correct. Of course, I'm a regular blogger. I write a lot of inspirational blogs. I post a lot on LinkedIn. Anyone who's watching this podcast, feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, and you will get a lot of inspirational thoughts, quotes, and stories. And some of my very personal stories will also be mentioned there. I'm a positive person, right? So anything which is positive, anything which motivates me, I love to quote and talk about it.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I am also following Sir from last 1 month, and he's just constant in his things, the positive quotes that he posts. That was great, sir.
Thanks a lot, Omkar. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Your favorite food, sir?
I'm a foodie. Anything veg, edible, I'm game for it. Though I'm a Gujarati, so that food comes very naturally for all of us. In
Yes.
fact, it's very tough for me to say, okay, I'm going to eat a pizza, or I'm going to eat a burger, or I'm going to eat chole bhature, or I'm going to. But I just love to eat what I get to eat. And I'm a very contented person. I'm not very demanding कि आज मुझे यही चाहिए और आज मैं यही खाऊंगा. I'm not stubborn that way. So I love to be a foodie, and I'm flexible on what I get to eat. And I love to experiment and have variety whenever I get a chance for that.
Yeah. So a bit of question here. That what about hosting somebody else?
Oh, I'd love to host. I would love to make some food myself and host, and I'm sure that person will have a good. I don't cook very often, but when I cook, I make sure that I cook it very well. It's worth taking a photograph for sure. Whether it's tasty enough, that's something for others to judge, but it's definitely worth taking a photograph.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Actually, I was talking about myself though when I pinned it.
No problems.
Yes.
Yeah, I would love to host you anytime.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any of your best moment of your life that you want to mark?
There are many best of moments. It's like my first IRONMAN 2018, my Everest Base Camp trek in 2019, when I ran a marathon for my father on his first birth anniversary after his death. There are many special moments, but moments come and go. Retention of the moments is very important, right? I love in creating great moments out of ordinary ones. A gentle breeze, a nice sunrise, a beautiful sunset, a beautiful cloud, a nice joke, a nice song, a good phone call with someone, a nice chat with someone. I look for beauty in ordinary moments and create them great, rather than looking or hanging on to memories of certain moments and then saying, oh wo din fir kab aayega, oh usse hum fir kab milenge. I had a great chat with you guys. I would rather say this was probably the high point of my day, rather than saying, मैंने पूरे दिन में आज क्या किया.
That was great, sir. So, sir, as I said that I have one more question to that third or fourth question. I don't remember it exactly. It is basically that you
are the ever ready bunny of question. तुम्हारे question खत्म ही नहीं होते.
नहीं, जब मैंने कहा था कि मेरे पास एक क्वेश्चन है जो कि मैंने लास्ट के लिए बचा कर रखा.
No
और
problem.
personal.
I was just joking. I'm the last person to shy of questions. So let's bring them on.
Sure, sir, sure. So the question is like आपकी पूरी जर्नी हमने आज विटनेस करी. कहाँ से आप रिजेक्टेड हो, कुछ भी हो, तो आपको एक कांस्टेंट मोटिवेशन होता था. क्या आप हमारे लिए, जितने भी हमारे यूजर्स आज हमें यहाँ पर सुन रहे हैं, कोई 5 books, whether it is an entrepreneur or whether it is a self-aspiring person, whoever it is, कोई 5 books आप बता सकते हो जिसको पढ़ के हम सब सोच सके कि yeah, now this is the thing that we should do.
I get this question asked a lot. I have read about 360 books in the last 3 years. It's very difficult to choose books, but top of the mind, I'll share a few books which come to my mind. I think the first one is Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. By far one of the favorite books which I've quoted very often. The second one would be Grit by Angela Duckworth. Beautiful book. It talks a lot about building yourself, building your character, being able to get the best out of you. Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. It's a fabulous book from a autobiography perspective. I think it's a great learning there as well. Linchpin by Seth Godin. Fabulous book. There's a lot to learn from that. And fifth, last but not the least, I would talk about Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. All of these are absolutely gems. You can just go and blindly buy these books and read them from cover to cover. There's a lot of learning in them. I think, it's not just these 5 books, but reading as a habit. I was telling someone the other day, there is no problem in life for which there is not a book. Right from the stickiest to the weirdest of problems, there is a solution in a book. The only question is, are you willing to put in that extra hard work to find the book, read the book, and implement it? That's where the challenge comes in. People are typically lazy of finding the book, even more lazy of reading the book, even more lazy of implementing. But if you're able to implement that, you don't need any consultant, you don't need any advisor. I found this funny joke where a guy says, I've written this book, How to Make a Lot of Money, and I'm looking for a publisher because I don't have enough money. He says, go and read your book. The meaning is there in itself, right? If you are smart enough to find a good book, you'll find smart ways to implement the learnings of that book and actually make money for yourselves. You really don't need to run a large enterprise to make money. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And with that note, actually, we have come to the end of the session. And yeah, of course, my team will surely mark these 3 to 4 books that you marked out.
5 of them.
Yeah,
You got them.
sorry, sir. Sorry. The 5 of them books, and surely the team will mark it out. And जैसा कि हम लोग सब जानते हैं कि हर अच्छी चीज एंड पे आती है. सो विद दैट नोट आज का हमारा यहाँ पॉडकास्ट यही खत्म होता है. सो फॉर मोर पॉडकास्ट लाइक दिस, hey people, just tune in to us, like, follow and subscribe us for more.
थैंक्स अ लॉट ओंकार. और आप लोगों के साथ बात करके बहुत मजा आया. आई थिंक स्किल वैली शो इज अ ग्रेट शो. आप लोगों ने जो मेहनत करी है सवाल पूछने में और जो डिटेल में आप गए हैं मेरे लाइफ स्टोरी के लिए, इसके लिए मैं आपको तहे दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ दैट आप लोगों ने इतना एफर्ट डाला है. एंड आई होप जो स्टूडेंट कम्युनिटी देखने वाली है वो इसको देख के देयर विल बी लॉट ऑफ लर्निंग्स. एंड if students would like to connect with me, they're more than welcome to follow me on LinkedIn. Don't send me a connect request, but please follow me. I would love to hear from you. Send me messages and I would definitely try and respond. My effort is always, my students are I'm very passionate about students and would love to mentor any and everyone. So if you have a problem in life, if you have a question, shoot it to me. I'll definitely try my best to answer it, solve it, and help you out. Thank you very much.